Join us on the last bus home.
And then if you get a trusted friend or colleague or acquaintance to gently scrape it off, you can put it in a tub and then you can actually sell that as a beauty product at your local car boot, thereby dealing with a minor irritation and making it into a small profit.
Oh, man, everyone's happy.
Everybody wins.
Sign me up, brother.
I know. Just doing my bit, because I feel there's just stuff that people aren't aware of, and I can bring that to them.
This is it, mate. You should win awards.
Yeah.
Why are we here today?
I'll tell you now. A young man reached out, okay? And a young man named Roman, who, this is where you might want to add some slow, soft piano music, or if you want to make it sound like a Netflix documentary, maybe some scratchy violin and cello. But he's recently broken his collarbone, and he's requested that we cover this topic. But he requested it before he broke his collarbone, and he actually broke it he plays rugby with my boy, and he broke it in a match where the Sharks slammed the underdogs. Just want to point that out here. And go Shawcross Sharks. Anyway, what he did, he left us a comment and he's requested that we cover the Dyatlov Pass. So
nice.
Roman, this one's for you, princess.
It's one of those things that I've seen a few podcasts on, a few documentaries before. It remains largely unsolved, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure things are coming out about it all the time. So it'd be interesting to hear a bit of a fresh take.
Yeah, there is plenty of updates because there's no shortage of coverage on this. And there are new things come out. Now, I did watch a documentary which had a certain explanation, and I just cannot find it. Right. I can't find the documentary I watched, but equally on the internet, I can't find any reference to the explanation that they gave. So I either made it up or I'm just rubbish at the internet. But who cares? We've been, for nearly a year now, we've been misinforming and misleading people with this podcast. So why stop now? Why?
Truth.
So, without further word mincing, I will get on with it. So, what I'm going to do is just give you a little basic on how it started, and then we'll get into the meat and gravy. So, the Dyatlov Pass incident, which is mostly referred to, the members of the ill-fated 1959 Dyatlov Pass expedition consisted of 9 experienced hikers and 1 who turned back due to illness. All were students or graduates of the Ural Polytechnical Institute, except for Semyon Zolotayev, a hiking instructor who joined the group at the last minute. So the 10 original team members were Igor Dyatlov, the group's 23-year-old leader, after whom the pass is named. And there's Zinaida Kolmogorova, 22 years old and a classmate of Dyatlov's. Ludmila Dibinina, I think, 20 years old and an economics student. There was Alexander Kolovatov, a 24-year-old student. Just student. We didn't get a subject on that one. And there was Rustem Slobodin, 23 years old, a recent graduate of what? We don't know. And there was Yuri Krivonishenko, a 23-year-old, a recent graduate who was an engineer at a nuclear facility. Maybe that's something to bear in mind. And there was Yuri Doroshenko, a 21-year-old student, Nikolai Thibobrignoles, a 23-year-old and a recent graduate. And there was Semyon Zolotayov, 38 years old, hiking instructor and the oldest member of the group. And Yuri Yudin, 21 years old, a student who was the only survivor. He fell ill with sciatica and left the group on January 28, 1959, before the incident occurred. Okay. And sciatica's fairly unpleasant anyway.
A student camping trip.
That's your cast. Yeah. They were setting out on a hike or an expedition and didn't quite end how they planned. In January 1959, 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov guided a party of 9 Soviet hikers, 7 men and 2 women, most of them university students, from the small settlement of Vizay into the northern Urals. Now, the Urals are just a mountain range up in Russia and Siberia, I believe. I don't really know much about them, but I was always very keen to win them in Risk. So, the board game. So, their goal was Otorten Mountain, but their frozen bodies weren't discovered until over 3 months later. They lay roughly 6 miles short of Otorten in a forest about a mile from their last camp, stripped of skis, shoes, and coats in temperatures around minus 34 degrees centigrade. We're not Fahrenheit people.
No.
So, 2 victims had fractured skulls, 2 more suffered major chest fractures, and 1 woman's tongue was missing. Soviet authorities attributed their deaths to a compelling natural force and closed the investigation less than a month after the bodies were found.
Wait, what would a compelling natural force be?
An avalanche. Or wind.
So just say wind. Just say wind.
I don't know. If you would just say wind, it makes me think of bodily stuff. Fake smiles, you know.
Yup.
But yeah, I think mostly it's, in this case, avalanche. But we'll get into it. So what emerges from the official record is chilling. 6 hikers died of hypothermia, 3 succumbed to traumatic injuries, and none perished together, they say. 2 bodies rested beneath a cedar tree beside a fire site, 3 were scattered at intervals of hundreds of feet away, and the final 4 lay in a ravine some 250 feet from the tree, uncovered only on May the 4th. The 2 under the tree bore burns on their hands. Items of clothing had exchanged owners. For example, Ludmila Dubinina's foot was wrapped in pants once worn by Yuri Krivonishenko, and Semyon Zolotayov donned Dubinina's hat and coat. Some garments showed clean cuts as if ripped off. Snow tracks counted 8 or 9 sets, just the hikers, no outsiders. And there was no sign of struggle, animal tracks, or anyone else at the site. A diary entry pinned their deaths to a snowstorm on the night of February the 2nd.
So right there, we've got no animal tracks, yet one of their tongues were removed, which, if you think about the only logical explanation, was that an animal probably ate it after they died. But that's out. So what the hell happened? It's like it's a mystery or something.
I know, it should be on a podcast about these things.
Yeah.
There's an idea. So Their last campsite sat at about 3,600 feet on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl. I do not apologise for the poor pronunciation, but I think I've got it so wrong that any apology wouldn't fix anything.
It's fine. It's fine.
And I don't think I'm going to be saying it again. But that it was also known as Dead Mountain, which is easier for me to say.
Better ring to it.
Yeah. So they were all seasoned trekkers, most in their early to mid-20s, with Zolotaryov in his late 30s, who had skied across lakes and uninhabited terrain to reach this spot. So, it's not an easy walk. It's not like a walk through Miggy Woods. This is it's not for the faint of heart, this journey.
Right.
So despite the worsening weather and slower pace, their final diary pages radiate optimism. In true Soviet spirit, they even published a makeshift camp newspaper, the Evening Autoten, which, as you remember, was their destination, whimsically declaring that snowmen existed in the northern Urals. An inside joke about themselves. So they were. I do know that some people have looked at their diaries and their paperwork and assumed Yetis or the Almasty, which is the Russian version.
Yeah, that's where I went.
But apparently it was an inside joke about them.
Okay.
But this just might be the musings of a skeptic. Who knows? So initially, investigators chalked up the mystery to hypothermia, noting paradoxical undressing, a disorienting urge to shed clothes that affects about a quarter of extreme cold victims. Now, I remember Bear Grylls mentioning that. So when you get hypothermia, one of the signs is if you're in all the cold, but you think you've got to take your clothes off.
Man.
But questions swirled when examiners saw the hiker's tent. It had been cut open from within. Getting Lake Bodom feels now.
Yeah.
And all their gear remained inside. Why had they fled into the blizzard without boots, coats, or skis? Question mark. Oddly, Zolotaryov bolted with his camera but left behind his cold weather kit. Rustem Slobodin, Igor Dyatlov, and Zina Kolomgorova were found in positions suggesting they were attempting to return to the tent. Slobodin's small skull crack was dismissed as post-mortem damage with no external wounds on any of them. So, yeah.
How odd.
The true shock came with the ravine discoveries. Dubinina and Zolotaryov had crushed ribs, and Nikolai Thibault-Brignoles suffered a massive skull fracture, injuries comparable to a high-impact car crash. Yet there was no sign of soft tissue bruising or evidence of other person-inflicting force. So Dubinina's missing tongue reignited suspicions of foul play, but no footprints or other clues pointed to outsiders, nor even members of the local Mansi tribe. On top of it all, radiation showed up on several articles of the victim's clothing. But one of them did work in a radio plant or something. I'd literally said that not that long ago, and I've forgotten what it was. But it links up to what was on their clothes. With no culprit in sight, the inquest wrapped up in May 1959 and the files were sealed. When they resurfaced in the 90s, key documents were conspicuously absent. So the fact that they were sealed in the first place is dodgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got bits missing. No scientific consensus has emerged in the decades since. The legend inspired countless books, articles, and films, both journalistic and fictional. The pass where they died now bears Dyatlov's name, and the Dyatlov Foundation, founded by Yuri Kuntsevich, the boy who watched their funerals, continues to lobby for a fresh inquiry. In Ekaterinburg, their story lives on at the Dyatlov Museum, dedicated to preserving the memory and mystery of those 9 ill-fated travellers. In the absence of definitive answers, theories ran wild. Some blamed the Soviet government's abrupt case closure. Campers 50 miles away reported orange spheres in the sky that night, and later linked by skeptics to R-7 missile tests en route from Baikonur to a nuclear proving ground. Others speculated the hikers drank radioactive meltwater, and a 12-year-old who attended 5 of the funerals swore the bodies bore deep brown tans. Alien craft, Yetis, even Yeti-style snowmen from the group's own newspaper got credit for the carnage. So, there's a lot of theories, but there's no facts that we're aware of.
Right. So,
go on.
This was, they basically just case closed. Did it ever get, reopened or anything like that? Or was this just, it will remain a mystery?
No, it's been reopened with various theories and what have you.
So for me, I'm definitely going logical on this one, and I agree. If you take all the signs, radiation, glowing orbs in the sky, some body parts removed, but no signs of struggle, no animal prints, of course it's aliens. Of course it is. How would it not be?
Of course. Who invited Mulder?
Well,
Yes.
there you go. Of course.
I get it.
Give me a more logical answer. I challenge you.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a few answers.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to start with the biggest pile of bullshit.
Just before you do, so I'm taking it you're not aliens.
Me?
Yeah, you're going something different.
I am, yeah. I'm going with what I couldn't find reference to on the internet, and I absolutely swear I watched this documentary.
Okay.
And I'll do that last because my memory is very patchy of it, and I don't care. I'm sticking to it because it was my favourite. But you'll have to wait for that.
Okay.
So, yeah, like I say, I'm going to start with the biggest load of twaddle, which is how the recent scientific theories contradict supernatural claims, right? So this is what the pointy heads have decided what happened. A scientific study published in Communications, Earth and Environment in 2021 provides a robust explanation for many of the incident's strange details using a specialized model of a slab avalanche. The study posits that a slab of snow shifted and collapsed on the tent, causing the hikers to flee in panic. So, what explains the tent panic is the avalanche would have forced the hikers to cut their way out of the tent in a state of panic, fleeing without their proper clothing or boots. Explanations for the internal injuries. The force of a dense slab of snow could have caused the massive chest and skull injuries without corresponding external cuts or bruising. And explanations for missing body parts. Scavenging animals could account for missing eyes and tongue on the victims found in the spring.
Okay.
And the explanations of radiation. The radiation on some clothes is most likely due to a specific hiker's former job at a contaminated nuclear facility. Okay, so that's what the pointy heads are saying.
You're right, that was twaddle. Now get to the truth. What's the paranormal
Absolute
shit?
balls, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So now we're going to go venture into the real world of facts and figures. And we're going to look at these supernatural theories that focus on elements that seem to defy a rational explanation.
Hell yeah.
Including The hikers' panic-stricken flight, which caused them to cut their way out of their tent and flee into sub-zero temperatures while only partially dressed. The discovery of severe internal blunt force trauma, including crushed ribs and fractured skull, with no corresponding external damage to the bodies. The presence of missing eyes and a tongue on some of the victims. The finding of high levels of radiation on some of the victims' clothing, and the initial suppression of information by Soviet authorities, which fueled cover-up suspicions. Okay, these are what are going to be used in the more believable explanations.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the classic Yeti theory,
Cool.
or as we're in the northeastern Asian areas of the world, it's the Almasti. Okay. So not the Yeti. The Yeti is we're more southwest if you want in Yeti action.
Okay.
You know, the Himalayas and what have you. But we're talking Almasti territory, or the Alma for sure, I think he prefers. So, one of the most popular and persistent cryptid theories is that the group was attacked by a Yeti or a similar man-like beast. The evidence. Proponents point to several pieces of evidence, including an alleged photo taken by one of the hikers showing a blurry dark humanoid figure. Now, if you were to look at any footage or like documentary about the Dyatlov Pass, there's always the photograph, because they took lots of photos, you know, on their journey, but there was one photo, it might have been a selfie of a few of them, but in the background, poking out from a tree, there's clearly a dark figure, like, poking out. Now, there's nothing really for a size reference there, but
Right.
it is the classic pose of a Bigfoot. I don't mean the classic pose of a Bigfoot, but it matches a lot of apparent hairy hominid pictures.
If it's quite blurry, could also go into the realms of shadow people, which we really need to do an episode on.
Quite possibly. I believe the very first episode we ever recorded and never used had shadow people in it, but we never used it.
We need to go back. We need to get that on.
No, I think we need to redo it. You know? So yeah, the evidence is this photograph of this blurry, dark humanoid figure. The origin of the theory is it gained traction after a satirical newspaper created by the hikers was found in their tent, and it contained a line joking that a Yeti lived in the area. And how, just by reading it, did they know it was a joke? But unfortunately, the debunking is the photo is most likely a blurry image of one of the hikers. Furthermore, no footprints from a Yeti or any other unaccounted for animal were found near the campsite. So that's how they reckon they've pissed all over that theory. I think they missed, but who knows?
See, this is it. It's if there's no tracks around, you can't be throwing this on animals. You're going to see, and they say no signs of a struggle. So I'm guessing these bodies, apart from the injuries, were largely pretty pristine. Animals are going to be gnawing and gnashing at everything. They would know if an animal has done stuff to that body. An animal isn't just going to go in and take the tongue and then run away. They're going to be gnashing at all sorts. So I'm scrapping this animal theory straight out. It's BS.
And also, they're on a snowy mountain. And it happened in February. They weren't found till May. That's plenty of time for more snow.
This is it.
And avalanches to happen. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the next set of theories is UFO and extraterrestrials.
Cool. The truth.
Okay. So some theories suggest that the hikers were killed by aliens or caught in the middle of a UFO incident. The evidence, These ideas stem from reports of mysterious fireballs or orbs of light in the night sky around the time of the incident, reported by campers as far as 50 miles away.
Yep, checks out.
These sightings were reported by indigenous Mansi people and members of the search party.
Those guys don't lie.
Mansi? Nah.
No.
They don't even have a word for lie. I don't
Exactly.
But little known fact is they have about 50 words for knob.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't it?
That's a tribe I want to get down with.
So, the origin of this theory is in 1990, the lead investigator on the original 1959 case, Lev Ivanov, published an article claiming he was ordered to cover up the fact that he thought the hikers were killed by a UFO or a heat ray.
Nice.
Yeah. The debunking is documented missile tests in the region can explain the mysterious light seen in the sky, and the radiation found on the clothes can be traced back to a specific hiker who had worked to the contaminated area.
Too convenient.
So they're really going for this, like them wearing each other's clothes.
Yeah.
As well, which might have just been a drunken game, let's say. Anyway.
Well, I would just like to point out that a lot of UAP experiences do get reports of skin burns, things like that. Some even contracting various cancers. So there's definitely radiation involved when you're looking at 0 point energy. Just saying.
Okay, the people listening, or the person listening, they heard you using some impressive language there, but what they didn't get to see was the very serious eyebrows you were giving that client as well. Which I can say that you meant that.
I did mean it.
You did. You gave some very professor eyebrows. So it's a shame nobody saw that. Right, the next theory: the curse of the Dead Mountain.
Ooh, nice.
So hikers were camping on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl. Oh, I said I wouldn't say that again. But there we go. I probably pronounced it a different way that time, which translates to Dead Mountain in the local Mansi language. So the evidence, the mountain's ominous nickname, along with the discovery of strange characters and drawings in the hikers' diaries, led to speculation that the group violated sacred ground or were victims of a curse. The origin of this is the Mansi people have local legends, and early in the investigation, Soviet officials did consider if the indigenous people were involved. The debunking of that, investigations into Mansi folklore found no religious significance attributed to the mountain, and the Mansi were known to be peaceful. Furthermore, a recent interview with a Mansi elder clarified that, here we go again, Kholat Syakhl does not mean dead mountain, but mountain with swirling winds. Another compelling natural force, whatever the statement was. Now, while some initial suspicions fell on the local Mansi tribe for the Dyatlov Pass deaths, this was largely debunked by investigators due to a lack of evidence, and the Mansi is still considered a peaceful indigenous people. The injuries on the hikers were too severe and of a type, blood force trauma fractures, that could not have been caused by another human, according to a forensic expert at the time. So we're talking a forensic expert in the 50s. Later, official investigations concluded that a slab avalanche was the most probable cause of the incident. Now, we've got why the Mansi were initially considered. See, we're getting close to my preferred theory.
Okay.
So, this isn't it. Theories of conflict is early on there were theories that the hikers were killed by the Mansi for trespassing on sacred land or in a ritual. The lack of footprints. So while the hikers fled the tent, no footprints of other people were found in the vicinity, which is initially a point of confusion. So while the Mansi theory was dismissed, there was a lack of evidence. Soviet authorities were unable to find any evidence of conflict with the Mansi, and the evidence did not support violent conflict. Nature of the injuries. A key piece of evidence against the theory was that the nature of the fatal injuries described as too strong to be inflicted by a human and inconsistent with the human attack. And they're just peaceful people. The Mansi were known to be peaceful, indigenous people of the region.
Okay, well, that pretty much debunks that.
Yeah.
I think. I was going to go down the realm of this kind of adds up because it's similar to, I guess, Native Americans and skinwalkers and those type of things. Anyone encroaching on their land, skinwalker goes and rips them to shreds. I was thinking this was maybe similar vibe on the Dead Mountain there, but if these guys were all about peace and love and they didn't even have any skinwalkers, then puts it back to aliens, doesn't it?
But, let's just not forget the skinwalkers are generally found in Arizona.
Yeah. True.
Not on snowy mountains. They don't have craghopper North Face jackets.
True.
They wear ripped furs.
I think for me, skinwalker is a generalization of a protective beast over the native people. So I was going with that, but yeah, I'm not feeling it on this one. I'm still sticking with aliens. Sorry, you can't convince me any other way.
Okay. So that brings us to the end, really, of that. But I'm just going to touch on my preferred theory is... Now, this documentary, and I apologise, I just cannot find it, and I promise I didn't make it up. But there is another tribe, an indigenous tribe, fairly from the area. I don't know how big this area could be, hundreds of miles, I don't know. But they're less tolerant of outsiders.
Okay.
Have been known to attack stragglers, let's say. And they even included a photo of people. They look pretty rough. But this could account for the Yeti picture in the background, but also for the attack because they were known for attacking people. Now, we know this 1950s forensic expert said that humans can't hurt people like that. But I don't know. People can do some horrific things. So I like the more, it's a more down-to-earth theory, but they're of an actually not very nice tribe. Now, there is other things there's something that I saw that goes against the avalanche thing is a photograph that was taken on the day the bodies were found. And there was a ski pole stood up in the snow. And whoever it is that was referring to this photograph swears that it wasn't one of the rescue team's ski poles. It actually belonged to one of the Dyatlov team.
Okay.
Now, if there was an avalanche strong enough to smash bodies to pieces, I don't think a ski pole would withstand it, personally.
No.
And also I found that the bodies with the missing eyes and tongue, the bodies, with the tongue missing and someone with eyes missing, were found face down in a stream. So there could be like fish eating. But I don't know what the aquatic life is up in the Ural Mountains. I don't think there's that many big flesh-eating fish up there.
No, not all. Well, I'm sorry to piss on your bonfire there, mate. You took a bit of time to set that little one up, but I'm calling BS because... Well, it's not little. It's an average size information bite, but I'm referring to your theory. I'm calling BS.
My average size theory, but
your average size theory, but again, you say it might be down to an angry tribe, but they even said no footprints, bro. They would have left footprints. If this tribe had gone up there, started savaging these students, we'd know about it.
Because it happened in February.
I know you said
They
more
went down
snow.
till May.
I don't know. It just seems too convenient. And a tribe, to me, they
And
would.
all the footprints probably got melted away by the UFO downward draft.
Well, there's that. But a tribe would be more savage, I think. They wouldn't. I know a few had the
I'm not
blunt
saying
force
they're a
trauma.
full tribe. I'm saying just some members of it.
I don't know, man.
They just seen these like pasty like city folk. They probably just sent 2 or 3 of the hard men over
And he
to
was
be
like,
these yuppies. Yeah,
I'll have that tongue.
yeah. Students, and off they go.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but let's just face it, mate. UFOs makes more sense.
Okay.
Well,
Anyway, that was a short one for you, Lee.
I liked it, mate.
Dyatlov and Roman. There you go,
Yeah.
mate.
It was good. I liked it. A little top up. I do like the story, and I always like a bit of a fresh take on it. And I like that it still remains a mystery. Pretty cool.
Well, it's not. I've literally just explained what happened.
Nah, mate. Nah. But yeah, cool. I enjoyed that, Mr. Wilson. Cheers for that. Very riveting. And
Well,
that was a cold one, so let's take this bus back to warmer climates of Yorkshire.
oh, yes.
And I will catch you on the next one, mate.
Ding, ding.